I guess the question with Cam is how, what is the upside, right? How good can he be? The contract was probably a little bit on the high side for me, where, nothing egregious, nothing crazy. Like I said, good team defender and a high end shooter that, like, the ceiling there as a, catch and shoot guy is very, very high. So you like that, but I'm not sure where he's going to add to his game in the self-creation department to exceed the value of the contract. I think that's really my rub with him is I don't know how or what the road looks like where you're like, wow, this is one of the better contracts in the league. Because that's, eventually what you want out of your team is you need players playing above their value contract-wise just because of the way the salary cap works. And, he's a pretty, efficient scorer, which is good, but I'm not sure how he ups that to, I don't know, maybe he goes the route of like a Herder on the Kings where he becomes a movement guy, an off-screen guy, where they're just setting up plays where he's ping-ponging around off ball to get that, the 3-point attempts up, because I think that's a way you could get more value out of him because he is such a strong shooter, maybe moving him more. But I like him as a player. He is good, but there is a little hesitancy of like, that was a pretty good chunk of change. And what are the avenues where he could outperform the contract? I think is the question that comes to mind for me.
What do you think about him possibly being the starting power forward? Is there any hesitancy there?
You have Nick Claxton, which would be your 5, right? So I think you would be doing a lot of switching on the perimeter, a lot of hedging, because that's what Nick Claxton is so good at. So you're going to want a strong team defender in your 4 slot, because if your center is being pulled away from the basket, you're going to need a lot of help defense. Your whole defense has to rotate over once that happens. And I think Cam Johnson has shown to be a good defender. Let me pull up his ability to guard the rim. I'm in his player profile right now. So his interior defense, actually, he was pretty good this year defending. We have a stat. It's rim points saved per 75. It basically just looks at when you contest shots at the rim, how much are you disrupting? Because like for the longest time, we've had blocks as the only real data point for, is this person difficult to score at the rim? Now we have something, it is called, it's a long name, it's rim defensive field goal percentage versus expected, which is basically what does the guy shoot at the rim when you are coming over to contest shots. So for Cam, it's -3%, which is pretty good, especially for a non-center. When he is rotating over and contesting shots, he is being effective. So I think that's the thing, right? When you go a little smaller with your team and you have a shooter at the 4 like Cam Johnson, your immediate question is, how does this hold up on defense? Because offensively, him at the 4 is going to make your offense, it's really going to open things up, right? Because you would imagine most guys down the peg from him, your 2, your 3, they're probably going to be able to shoot as well. And then you have Claxton as your roll man, and that really opens things up for the key, where that's probably going to work quite well offensively. Because like I said, Cam Johnson's ability to catch and shoot, very, very high. Defensively, that's where the question is. But last year fared very well protecting at the rim, was very solid there. So I think that's a place to get excited. And that could be another place where you squeeze excess value out of him to try to make that contract better. Because if he's rotating at a high level and protecting the rim alongside Nick Claxton, that's a recipe for a solid defense.